Welcome back to Fishing for a Reason. I'm Jamie, and today's guest is Robert Navarro, but everybody actually calls him Fly. Before we hit record, Fly told me he runs his own podcast. No edits, no cleanup, just 2 hours of real conversation because he believes authenticity is a thing that's missing from most of what we consume today. And I honestly have to agree. So in this episode, I left it as real and unfiltered as it could possibly get. It felt like the only honest thing to do to introduce you to this guy. Now, who is Fly? Fly started as an 18-year-old deckhand in South Florida, making $4 an hour, and turned that into a career of running Blue Marlin boats throughout the Panama Canal, living 4 years in Venezuela during the best bill fishing the world has ever seen, and eventually becoming the tournament director of the Blue Marlin World Cup, which is the only global Blue Marlin tournament on the planet. And it's actually run every single 4th of July. He does a whole lot more than that, but that's a lot of what we covered in today's podcast. You don't need to care about Blue Marlin fishing to get something out of this one, which, you know, when we first sat down to talk, I was like, how can I weave this conversation into things that are applicable for those of us here in the Pacific Northwest? But Fly walks us through the most insane finish in the tournament's 41-year history, which literally happened this year on the 4th of July. So I'm excited for you guys to hear that story directly from him. It's a pretty wild one, and I would love to know the actual odds of that ever happening again, but you got to tune in to check it out. We also get into why the fishing and hunting community needs to organize the way environmental groups do. And you guys know that we talk about these things on this podcast often. It's really important to the sustainability of the resource we are so blessed to enjoy and not something to be ignored. And somehow we ended up talking about faith, fatherhood, and what's going wrong with how we're actually raising young men. This conversation goes way beyond fishing, and I encourage you to tune in, listen through the whole 2 hours. It was so rich and so impactful to me that day that I was pretty excited to share it with you guys. So make sure you stick around to the end. The Washington Tuna Classic is something we touch on, which is happening July 24th and 25th down in Westport. So this is right before that's going to be happening, and there's details at the very end of this interview that you don't want to miss. And you're going to hear us just dive right into it. In fact, we were talking about some things that were awesome so quickly that I forgot to hit the record button. So I just hit record, and you can hear as we transition into our conversation, we're already going. So enjoy, and I'd love to know your thoughts. Drop them in the comments below this YouTube video. I would love to hear from you and your thoughts as well.
I want people to feel like they're a part of our conversation. That's the whole point.
You're challenging me to rethink some of the way I do things. I honestly think authenticity is what's missing. Like
100%.
And I edit stuff. And I sometimes maybe that's the best stuff should not be cut out.
No, here's the thing. So my background is fishing. I mean, for a living. I started doing it for a living at 18 years old. My favorite memories is sitting on the dock, just having a conversation, drinking a beer back when I drank, and sitting there for 2 or 3 hours. Towards the end of my career as a deckhand, we kept a little pop-up tent on the dock where we would just sit there and hang out and talk 3, 4, 5 hours. And that's what I was trying to recapture with the podcast, where it's just a normal conversation. And I'm a firm believer in, since I went into business, people like to do business with people they like. Mm-hmm. So, and I'll give him some props here because I always use him as kind of my standard. Pat Healy is the owner and CEO of Viking Yachts. Everybody knows Pat Healy, but they know who he is. But until you get him on the podcast and talk for 2 hours, now you know him. And that's the whole point of me wanting to get these guys on the podcast. I had Peter Bristow on the other day. He's 88 years old. He's been inducted into the Hall of Fame so long ago, but to spend 2 hours talking with him is a whole different thing. And I want people to enjoy that. I want people to know that we're all just regular people. There's no difference. Tom Brady is, I mean, he's an unbelievable quarterback, but he's still a human being. He still puts his pants on one leg at a time. And when you sit down and when you talk to them in a long form podcast like that, like this, that's when you realize, oh, it's just somebody that was just crazy enough that they did something, whatever it is. Yeah. I was just crazy enough that, number one, I was never happy with the status quo on myself. If I'm going fishing, I don't want to just go fishing. I want to go fishing where nobody else has. If I'm going fishing for fun, why can't I go fishing and get paid? If I go fishing and get paid, why can't I find the best team to be a part of? If I'm going to do that and I'm going to tell stories, why can't I just start my own fishing magazine? Once I build my own fishing magazine, why can't I write for other magazines? And then next thing you know, here I am hosting global events, and people know me all over the world, when really I'm just a 16-year-old kid that likes to go fishing. That's all. And just like you were saying, oh man, you're really making me think about how I do my podcast. One of the things I say on my podcast all the time, and I just did some research on it, I keep saying there's a verse in the Bible. Well, there's not one verse. There's 4 different verses in the Bible that align with the fact that when we get up to a certain level, it's our responsibility to reach back behind us and help those that are coming up. And it's just the way that I've always led my life, that I'm here. Let me reach back and help those that are doing the same thing as me. And I just said it this morning. I have a business partner of mine. He, in one of my things I do, he's like, you could charge for that. I go, I can, but I don't want to. Mm-hmm. I want to help, because here's the thing, collectively, we're all in this same thing together, especially in the fishing community. You have a fishing podcast. I want you to be as successful as me, if not more successful, because what you're doing is you're promoting my sport, mm-hmm. our sport. And that to me is what I ultimately want. So if I can do it, why can't I help 20 people do it? It doesn't cost me anything. It doesn't cost me a dime. If I can help you, let me help you, So
why fishing?
Why fishing?
Because helping, you challenge yourself to improve. You pull people behind you, forward with you. But why is the through line fishing for you?
Oh my gosh, that is a great question. And first of all, I'm going to give a lot of props to my girlfriend. She just asked me that the other day. We've been together 11 years, and she asked me, she goes, everything you do is about promoting fishing and fishing. Yeah. And she goes, I've never asked you, why fishing? And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's easy. That's an easy thing. Tom Brady is great because he can work so hard, but he's already 6'4". He weighs 200 pounds. Listen, I'm 5'8". I'm 200 pounds. I'm about as fast as molasses going uphill on a cold day. I am not nobody has to be genetically dispositioned to be good in fishing. All you have to do is want to work hard. That's it. That's all you have to do. You don't have to be super fast. You don't have to be super tall. You don't have to be super good looking. Listen, I got a face for radio. That's why the podcast thing works so good. You do not have to be genetically dispositioned for anything. All you have to do is want to try harder.
Where did you get your work ethic?
Yeah, you want to work harder. And then when you want to work harder, it's literally the golden ticket to the world. Mm-hmm. 3/4 of the world is covered by water. There's water everywhere. You can go fishing everywhere. I have gone to countries where I'm the only person speaking English on the boat, but we all loved fishing. I've gone to, I fished in a location where I had to run the helm while everybody was praying 5 times a day because of their religion. Here's this melting pot of so many different people, but we have, what's the one thing? It's fishing. And it brings everybody together. And that's why fishing. That's why I want to open that door for everybody. Now, it doesn't mean you have to walk through it. That's not the point. I want everybody to have access to it. And because of the fact of the tools that we have now in social media, it doesn't cost me or you a dime to post anything on. Mm-hmm. It doesn't cost anything. It's not like before where you had to buy airtime. You don't buy airtime. You're taking an hour or 2 hours out of your schedule and you put it out there, and whoever wants to listen will listen. And I just want to make it available. You know, you can open up a refrigerator and there's a ton of food in there, but you don't like any of it. That's fine. But at least I have the refrigerator full of food for you. You know, and that's what, for me, that's my why of fishing, because anybody can do it. You don't need a big boat. You can do it off the shore. You don't need a bunch of rods. You just need one. You don't need a lot of people. You can go by yourself. Mm-hmm. And sometimes that's the best time. You know, sometimes you need that at a low time. Or you can be on a boat with 12 people and you can still be alone. Mm-hmm. You know, you're trolling along and you're looking at the spread and you go sit by the corner and you have an hour alone, you know. And in today's world, having an hour alone is pretty damn cool.
And rare.
Yeah, it's not, you're on a boat and phones don't work. And
yep.
Yeah, so no, it's huge. And that's my why of fishing, why I've chosen fishing to promote. And really that's the mantra of my company. And mind you, I've been very blessed, and I have a bunch of different companies that I own pieces of. But my primary company, that when I first got started, every day I wake up and I say, I need to introduce fishing to one new person. That's it. That's all I care about. One new person. Some days, maybe it's not somebody, but maybe the other day it's going to be 2 million people. Mm-hmm. Then it's maybe 100,000 people. I was just looking at my numbers from the World Cup. Over the 30-day period between the two platforms, I reached 5 million people.
Awesome.
You know, so, but my goal is just one. My goal isn't 5 million. My goal is one. And if you look at things like that, especially young kids, because before you start recording, we were talking about my demographic. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you look at a mountain and you get overwhelmed, when really you shouldn't look at the mountain. You should just look at that first step. That's really all you need to look at. Just look at the first step. And once you make that first step, then take the next one, take the next one. That's why I look at it as one person at a time. You know, and once you get used to one, then it's 10. Before you know it, you're talking to 10 million people and it doesn't bother you. Mm-hmm. You don't look at it. It's not that hard. You're still only talking to one person. I mean, even now, I don't know how many people listen to you, but really I'm only having a conversation with you. Mm-hmm. That's my goal. My goal is to have a conversation with you.
I love that. Oh, I have so many different directions to go. And I think
Go all of them. Go all of them. Ask away, man.
I want to start with, so you explained why of fishing, and what has fishing given you, that, like, you as a person, that makes you so passionate about introducing it to one person?
I had a conversation with a young lady yesterday, and I'm not going to go into too much detail, just out of respect for her, of what how it got there. But I told her that because of fishing, and this is because of fishing, if somebody would call me up right now and say, hey man, can you build me a 66-story building? My first answer is, let me make a phone call. Not, oh my God, I can't do that. It just like when I was talking about the mountain, I'm not worried about building a 66-story building. I'm worried about, okay, who's the first person I need to call if this is something I decide to do? Mm-hmm. And that's what fishing has, catching that blue marlin, and that's my background, is blue marlin fishing. And that was my background because of the fact that I speak 2 languages. So the moment I could work on a boat, somebody offered me a job to go to Central America and South America.
Can you start us off where that was? Like, give us the like your backstory and.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%. So when I was in high school, I worked for a guy. He taught me how to troll. I never trolled in my life. Didn't know how. Didn't
Where
know.
are you living?
In South Florida. I grew up in South Florida, Palm Beach, Florida.
Beautiful.
I live Palm Beach is, and I say Palm Beach, Florida, because that's the inlet I fish out of. I really grew up in West Palm Beach, but Palm Beach Inlet is just how I identify myself as the passage to the ocean where I come in and out of. It's Palm Beach. So this guy that I worked for in high school who taught me how to troll, his son turned a year old, and I went to the birthday party. I'm 18. And his father, who was late 40s, early 50s, he's like, "What are you doing this summer?" And I'm like, "I got to work. I got to pay for college." I was making $4 an hour. And back then, that's what they were allowed to pay people. Okay. So way back in the day. And he goes, "Hey, listen, I'm looking for a deckhand to go with me to Mexico." And I'm like, "I don't know nothing about boats. I know how to fish. I like to fish. I grew up fishing since I was 5, but I didn't know nothing about big boats." He goes, "I'll teach you. I just need somebody that speaks Spanish." I'm like, "All right." And he offered me $100 a day to boot. So from $4 an hour to $100 a day is a huge jump. And anyway, so I went off and go to Mexico. And the two things, actually the biggest thing, and I tell this to all the young people that listen, the biggest success for my career is the same thing that I look for when I hire people. I'm looking for somebody with a good attitude and the willingness to learn. I can teach you everything else. If you show up to the boat and you're happy and you're in a good mood, I can teach you everything else. If you're miserable, I don't want you to be around me. You can stay on the beach. And listen, we all have bad days, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if your life is always looking at the glass half empty, I can't help you. Now, if you want to change that, I can help you how to look at life differently. And I've done that. But if you don't inside your heart want to change on how you look at life, I can't help you. Mm-hmm. Now, if you do that, I can teach you the rest. It's not rocket science. And then off I went to Mexico. Then shortly thereafter, I got snatched up and I went through the Panama Canal for the first of 11.
Cool.
Yeah. And I got picked up and I moved to Venezuela for 4 years and lived in Venezuela at the heyday where you're getting 40 or 50 billfish bites a day. And then I'm this young Cuban-American kid that not only because I'm American, I hang out with all the American captains, but being that my family is of Cuban heritage, all the locals, I get taken to everybody's house to go visit all their moms and dads and cousins, and because you're like a Spanish person that made it. You live in the United States. So I loved my time in Venezuela. And then while I was there, some friends of mine reached out to me and they're like, "Hey, we're thinking of starting a fishing magazine. Can you help us?" And I'm like, "Okay, why me? What? No, you're very well respected. Everybody knows you." And I'm like, "Okay, cool." They gave me a percentage in the company. What can I do? "Well, we want you to write stories." Okay, I can write stories. And the mudslides happened in 1999 in Venezuela. Nobody was down there after the mudslides except for my boat. We were the first American boat to go back. And every week I would put out a new article about what I'm seeing with my old-fashioned digital floppy disk camera and uploading on AOL dial-up. It was great. It was great. And then my last boss, Jim Lambert, he was building an 80-foot Merit boat, and he was looking for English and Spanish-speaking deckhand, and my name kept coming back up. So I was about ready to move home. I wanted to buy a house, and I did. And I took the job on the Real Tight after, the normal stuff, where I stayed on that boat for 14 years. But the first 8.5 were with Jim. And right before I took the job, he had gotten diagnosed with lung cancer, and they gave him 6 months to live. So he said, the hell with this. All I'm going to do is blue marlin fish. So we did that for the next 8.5 years.
Wow. Oh,
And
good for him.
what's that?
You said 8.5 years.
Yeah, he fought it off for 8.5 years, and I went with him everywhere we went, man. If people would invite him to go fishing on another boat, I'd go with them. And that's why to this day, I still call him the boss. And I love to describe that boat and that operation very similar to the New York Yankees. We fished all the cool tournaments. There was no expense that was spared on the operation. I was just talking with somebody the other day. We were the first operation ever to have 3 deckhands. Nobody ever had 3 deckhands. It was always like 1. And if you were lucky, you get 2 when you traveled. We had 3. And he goes, I don't want anybody tired. There's a lot of work to do. And that's what we did. And I stayed on that job for 14 years. And then I got offered the opportunity to run a boat in Kona, Hawaii. So I went out to Hawaii and I ran a boat for 2 years. My boss, who was young, ended up he was going to be a father, so he went back home. I didn't want to go live in Texas, so I went to Florida at 41 years old. I'm like, what do I want to do with my life? I went through a really brief midlife crisis. No young women in fast cars. That wasn't my thing. My midlife crisis was, oh my gosh, you're going to die.
Yeah.
It hits you. This thing is not for, when you're 20, you think you're going to live forever. When you're 40, you're like, oh my God, you're going to die. What are you going to, if you only have 40 years left, you better don't waste 6 months doing something. So do I want to work for somebody and give 15 years of my life and then they can say, okay, I don't want a boat anymore? Or do you want to do something different? And I kind of backed into creating a social media marketing company. I decided to freelance and just pay the bills. And again, because I have no kids, I have a $600 a month mortgage. I don't buy brand new cars. I just want to go fishing. And so I needed to fish 3 days a month to pay my bills. And I kept posting my pictures on Instagram and Facebook. And before you know it, I'm fishing 300 days a year. And I'm like, oh my gosh, there's something to this social media thing. People see stuff. Let me play with this some more, but I'm going to create videos. So I started creating how-to videos before there was influencers. I have 1,500 videos that I made $0 off of.
Love it.
No companies. I just wanted to see how it worked.
Yeah, you build the skill.
Yeah, I wanted to learn how it worked. And then I'm like, I need more pictures. How do I get more pictures? I can only be in so many places at once. Aha, let me put on a fishing tournament and have people pay me to take pictures for me. So then, poof, I created a fishing tournament. Then I created another, and then I created another. The next thing you know, I get a phone call because of my videos. I get a phone call. Hey, would you come to our marina and show our guys how to take care of boats, fishing tackle for charters? And I'm like, sure, where's your marina? They're like, we're in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. And I'm like, okay. So I flew to Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, and I started teaching people how to work on boats. I was supposed to be there 17 days. And then the marina manager said, hey, can you talk to my boss and explain to him how important fishing is to tourism? I'm like, sure, not a problem. So they gave me a whiteboard, and I'll never forget. He walks in, he goes, you got an hour. I'm like, holy smokes, let me make this count. And so I get my little colored dry erasers, and I love whiteboards, man. I absolutely. Me and whiteboards, we were together in a previous life, man. Listen, if I was back in biblical times, I probably had a chisel and a tablet. So I love whiteboards. So I sat there and I started whiteboarding. After 2.5 hours, he's like, I never knew that about fishing. So then a couple days later, I'm in my little, and it was an apartment, and I get picked up in a bus. I say a bus, like a minivan kind of a thing. Everybody's on their phone, and I'm in my fishing clothes because I was told I'm going to the marina. We go past the marina, and we're going out of the town, and I'm like, oh my God, where are we going? Nobody's getting off their phone. Finally, somebody hangs up the phone. I'm like, where are we going? the prince has reached out and he wants to talk to you.
Oh, wow. No pressure.
It's not, and just so people are aware, it's a prince. It's not the prince. It's not the crown prince, even though the crown prince is on my list of people I want to meet in this world. And everybody knows that. So we walk in there and I'll never forget. He's like, so you're the man that puts on fishing tournaments. And I'm like, whoa. I'm a man. I'm not the man. Huge difference. Huge difference. So we started talking. Anyway, I'll skip over the particulars. I ended up getting introduced to a new gentleman, and him and I, who is still my business partner over there, him and I put on the first ever international fishing tournament in the history of Saudi Arabia. And we flew people in from all different countries. And that was kind of my job, was because I knew so many people around the globe, I reached out to all these different fishing people from every continent. And my goal was, well, because I own a social media marketing company, let me reach out to the biggest social media influencers out there. So with the 6 teams, I had a 5.5 million person reach.
Wow.
Yeah. So since then, we had COVID. We were supposed to do another one. I was literally flying around the world interviewing fishermen. They allowed me to bring in 30 teams. I got to 19 teams with a 26.5 million person reach. I had fishermen from China, Japan, New Zealand, Australia, US, long series. It was 19 teams, and then COVID came in, shut everything down. Since then, we are working on building the first ever fishing club in the history of Saudi right now. And that one will be in Jeddah, and then we'll have satellite campuses all over the country. And we're already using those teams to go back and forth, fishing tournaments all over the world. And I'm the official coach of the Saudi fishing team, which is cool. And especially when I get to wear all the garb. Yeah, it's really cool. And then with the long beard, usually it's high religious people and senior elders that have long beards. So whenever I go somewhere, if I'm not talking, because you can tell I'm American, but if you don't hear me talking, they're like, oh, can I meet the sheik? Like, it's like the sheik, and they point at me. They're like, that's not that sheik, that's Fly. Yeah, Fly, come over here. So, but no, listen, and that's kind of what's gotten me into all this, and I just keep growing it over and over and over. All I want to do is one new person every day. One new person every day. That's all I care about. All the other stuff, it's just the love I have for this sport and meeting, even just the opportunity to meet you. You live up here in Washington. I'm new to here. You know, we just got this house a couple of years ago. I don't know anybody. I host a tournament down in Westport, so I know some people down there, but now we have this home, and I get to come up here and hang out, and anytime I don't have to be somewhere hosting a tournament, I come right here. I love it. It's beautiful. And even in the wintertime, I love the wintertime here more than I like the summer.
Agree.
I love it.
Yep.
It's great because when the sun's up, I feel I should be working.
So tell me, what brought you to the Pacific Northwest, specifically up here in the San Juan Island area? Like, you've been all over the world. Why did you buy a house here?
Yeah, we bought a house. So I have to give that 100% to my girlfriend, Naomi. When we first met 11 years ago, she says, I'm going to buy a house in the San Juan Islands. When I retire, that's where I'm going to go. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'm not going to retire. I'm not the kind of sit down kind of guy. I got to stay busy, but I want somewhere in the mountains. And I didn't even realize until yesterday when I was talking to somebody, I'm in the mountains. I'm looking at mountains constantly. But even this house, I was in Saudi Arabia when I got the email. I woke up and we put an offer. What? Did we look at it? No. Okay, whatever. But I love coming up here. To me, there's a little bit of a sense of being on a boat. She even asked me the other day, she goes, when we first started, you said it's hard living on an island. Mm-hmm. Do you still think it's hard living on an island? I go, oh, absolutely. I go, it's still hard, but it's different. 53-year-old being hard is different than 23-year-old being hard. 23-year-old being hard, you want to go to the bar and talk to other people. I don't want to talk to anybody, man. I'm happy being alone. I had the opportunity to meet Mark, who is my new best friend on the island.
Because he's awesome. Thank you, Mark.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. He's coming in over the weekend. He just texted me yesterday. He goes, hey, do you have like your passport or your this? And I'm like, man, I don't leave my house without my passport, my captain's license, cash, a checkbook, and 4 challenge coins in case I need some military help. And he goes, I'm thinking of going to British Columbia to go salmon fishing. Damn straight I'll go. So, and then he had that concert last week at his house, which I have to thank him for because I flew back up just for his concert. And Naomi was down in Peru. And then I'm just kind of sitting there chilling. It was just an absolutely gorgeous day. And I'm like, I should go back to my house and grab my big camera. And he comes over, what do you think? I'm like, man, I'm torn. About what? I'm like, I want to go get my big camera. He goes, go get it. So I went. I took 750 photos. But this is the part that I enjoyed. It wasn't just the band. I took the pictures of all these neighbors that I didn't know. And then I was able, I pulled 90 of them and I cleaned them and I edited them and I put it online to the community group. And it gave me an opportunity to meet my neighbors. I don't go out. I go up and I cut my grass. I spend 2 hours every day cutting a little piece of grass, and then I come back down and another 2 hours and cut more grass, and I enjoy it. And then, I edit and I make my phone calls, and so it's nice that I know some people on the island. And now the crazy part, because of my work and my networking I'm already in touch with state officials. I'm in touch with the American Sport Fishing Association, head regional guy. So I've already established, I don't want to say roots, but I'm sprouting. I'm sprouting up here in the Pacific Northwest. So I'm really enjoying it. What's the goal?
Yep, for the Pacific Northwest specifically. That's primarily our audience. So I would love to know.
Wow, that's a great question. I don't know if I formulated a goal wholeheartedly, but, and this is where I put my caveat, wherever I go fishing, whether it be Saudi, Japan, wherever, I always want to show the world of what the locations I'm at has to offer. So that first and foremost, that's something that I want to do. Hence why I've reached out to Larry with ASA. I've talked to some state officials. I want to learn a little bit because I sit on so many fishery boards back home on the East Coast. I'm on highly migratory species with nymphs. Today was the first day I got to sleep in. The last couple of days I've been sitting on my couch listening to ICAT meetings from Barcelona at 2 a.m. I'm on billfish management with Spain and France and all this other BS. So I want to understand some of the issues out here because I think there's an important, and I can't take a political stance on anything because I don't know it enough yet, but because of my business, like right now, my latest podcast that's out right now, I interviewed the executive director of the Oregon Hunters Association because what they have going on down there with IP28, where they're trying to make it illegal to hunt and fish. And I'm very big on giving people a platform, but I'm also very big that I've noticed I've dealt with environmentalists enough that they're very, very well organized. And when I say that in the sense of just because I don't live in Oregon doesn't mean I shouldn't be helping the fishermen and hunters in Oregon to fight a problem. Just like I'm on the East Coast and I'm dealing with sharks, or maybe the people in Idaho are dealing with the wolves. We should organize in the same way, because when I am fighting off some of the non-restrictions that are going on in the shark world, the people that are attacking me, they're not even in the fishing world. They're just coming together. And it's like, wait a second, in the United States, we have 66 million fishermen. And why aren't we together to, if nothing else, it's easier for me to fight a battle if I know I have 20 people behind me. You don't have to throw knives and punches with me. I just need to know that when I fall, you're going to drag me back and get me back up and put a little water on me and push me back in. I'm cool with that. I'm okay. I don't mind the fight. It's nice to know that you're not in it alone. So I want to know some of the issues out here. I spoke with Larry about some of the salmon issues over here. You guys on the West Coast, and I'm talking about the entire West Coast, not just the Pacific Northwest. You guys are battling very, very hard with what we're battling with also on the East Coast, but different species. It's a law. Once things become into law, it's really hard to repeal those laws. Mm-hmm. And one of the laws that you guys are running up against really, really hard right now is the Marine Mammal Protection Act of 1972. And listen, let me, for your listeners, I'm not sitting here that I want an open season on seals or sea lions. That's not what I'm saying. Not at all. Not at all. What I'm saying is in any resource, and a seal is a resource just like sharks. And just so you're aware of it, on the East Coast, what I'm dealing with the sharks is the Shark Fin Ban Act of 2021. So you can't sell the shark fin. Legally caught sharks, you can't sell the fins. Okay. And so you have to cut off the fins and throw them in the garbage because there's a law that says you can't even throw them in the water.
What's the reason behind that law?
Great. So there used to be, back in the 80s, the most valuable part of the shark is the fins. So what fishermen were doing, and there's still a lot of fishermen globally that do it, they catch a shark, cut off his fins, throw the shark back, and let him die slowly.
Got it.
The United States did a great, great job, and in the 90s, they passed a law that says all sharks must be brought back to the dock with all their fins naturally attached. Super. Way easy, not a problem. 2021, might as well. Senator Cory Booker snuck into the defense budget bill the Shark Fin Ban Act and made it illegal to sell those fins. So now these commercial fishermen have to come in with the sharks, all the fins naturally attached, pull them back out of the hold, put them on the deck, cut off all those fins. Can't throw them in the water because now it's natural pollution. You have to put them in a bucket, walk them up to the dumpster, and throw them away. Now, just now, there's Amendment 16 coming out, and part of the study that they're going to do at Amendment 16, why is the commercial industry only catching 20% of the shark quota? I sit on those fishery boards, so I was number one to lift up my hand and say, before you spend all of our money doing a study on why they're only catching 20%, do you guys have any idea why people aren't catching 80% of the quota? Because of the Shark Fin Ban Act, there's no financial viability in them going out to catch sharks. Oh, so we can save the money now. We can save the money. So now that you guys think you figured it out, what are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
We don't know yet. What do you mean you don't know? Why don't you tell Congress, hey guys, there's a problem here? At which point the higher ups pulled the microphone away from the guy. We don't tell Congress what to do. Mm-hmm. Then what's your point? What's the point of your job? Your job is to do stuff and recommend stuff. That's why I hire people. Hey man, what should I do here? Give me all the information. So you guys are dealing with the same thing with these, with the Marine Mammal Protection Act. The seals and the sea lions have come back so well, unbelievably well. And so much so that boats get sunk because they sit on the boats. People can't go on their boats because there's a seal on it, and you can't shoo them off because now you're messing with a marine mammal. So you get fined, and they're eating 40% of the hatchery salmon that are going out. Mm-hmm. So again, I'm learning about this. So if I'm off on this, feel free to jump in but this is what I've been told in a nutshell. I'm sure there's some nuances that I need to know And I don't necessarily say I want to join fisheries out here, which maybe one day I will, but that's not my goal because I didn't spend 30 years fishing out here. I did in the Atlantic. But I do want to give people a platform and the ability to connect with the people so they can share what they see.
I think
Because
it's such an important topic that we've been talking about a lot on this podcast. And I'd love to know from your perspective, you fished 30 years and you've been super involved in the Atlantic. We've identified it's a people problem. What have you discovered through your experience that has solved the people problem?
we haven't solved that yet. Here's
Can
the
we
thing.
solve it?
We can. And I'm going to be as, I don't want to get too political. So
I know. This was not the intention of the podcast.
Yeah. I don't want to be too political, but here's the thing that I do want to say. If you fish, if you hunt, get involved.
Yes.
Don't just assume somebody else is going to do it. As soon as I went into business for myself, that I wasn't on somebody else's dime, meaning I'm not being paid a salary to be on somebody's boat. The moment I was in charge of myself, the first thing I did is I reached out and I said, I want to be on HMS because this is what I do to give back to the community that's helped me pay my bills. And really, I might take 5 days out of the whole year. So take 5 days out of the year, figure it out, do something, talk about it. Listen, let's say you're a commercial guy, not a commercial guy, but a charter guy. Hey, folks, is there any way you can help us sign this petition just to do a study on salmon stocks? Or can you do us a favor and sign up and just say, this politician is looking to get us some more salmon or some more shrimp. Just get involved. Seriously. I mean, if you look at what Oregon did with IP28, that was a ballot initiative. That wasn't passed by legislation. That was one guy that went out there with a little piece of paper and said, I want your signature. And I talked about it. I looked at it. He went around. It's an animal cruelty ballot initiative. You don't believe in animal cruelty, do you? No, sign this thing. But if you read into it, going fishing is considered animal cruelty, the way they have it written. Having a chicken lay eggs, animal cruelty. So you can't even have chicken that lays eggs. So get involved. That's what I've noticed. And that's when, and for people that have listened to me, I'm very, very, I draw a very distinctive line between conservation and environmentalism. Conservation is loving something so much that you want to make sure that we conserve it for the future generations. Environmentalism is, I don't want anybody to touch it. And I'm not for that. I'm a firm believer that God put these creatures on the earth for us to eat and consume, but as a steward of these resources, it's also our responsibility to take care of them and make sure they're protected, that so we don't overfish them, make sure that there's more sustainability for the next generation. And it doesn't mean a complete hands-off approach, and because then there becomes a problem. And so I would say it's not just the Pacific Northwest. Even if you're listening to this in Arizona, there's probably some kind of ground prairie you should be standing up for. And at least whatever it is that you're taking part of, understand that there's some management behind it and learn about it. And even if it's reaching out to somebody like me that's involved in it, saying, hey man, what can I do to spread the word? Or what's the latest that's going on that I need to know about? Because, again, I'm not poo-pooing the federal government. They're not the greatest at communicating. I have invited all of them, any of them, at any time to come on my podcast to talk about things.
So have I.
But they're not allowed to. They're not allowed to. It's called CYA. All government officials are great with CYA. Cover your ass. Yeah. Even when I talked to Larry, there's a proposal that was going on in Spokane that they're trying to get people don't trust the governmental agencies. And he told me some of the things that they recommended. I'm like, all great things, but can I give you one really, really easier one? It's communication. If there's a study, the way the law reads, they just have to publish it somewhere. So they publish it in the National Registry. Have you ever looked at the National Registry?
No.
I haven't. I don't go check it out. Oh, what's our government doing? So they just put it in the National Registry. You have 3 people out of 360 million people look at it and they CYA'd.
Yeah.
Well, put it out to people. You have the email of everybody with a fishing license. Put it out there. Email it. Hey, we're going to do this study on salmon. It will be completed on this day. We will let you know on that day. This day we finished it. Now we have to give it to our scientists. It's going to take them 6 to 8 weeks or 6 to 8 months, whatever it is. Just communicate. I learned all my years working on boats. If you communicate with your crew what is going on, they might not like what you're saying, but they understand you. I'm not asking you for your opinion on what I'm going to do, unless I do ask you for your opinion. But I'm letting you know, hey guys, it's just too rough. I got to back it off an extra 100. This is going to slow us down, and we're probably going to be out here an extra 4 hours. But understand what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. You know, most people are okay with that.
Yep.
But when you just don't say nothing, and then they say, oh, your science is horrible. Well, maybe your science does kind of suck, but maybe your communication is worse, you know? Or they don't realize that you don't have the funding to do the things you want to do. So, but communicate it. If you explain to people, man, like, I don't know if you have a dog, I don't have a dog, but where they go and if a dog poops on the floor, they put the dog's nose in it and they give him a smack on the butt. Okay, well, yeah, no, that didn't work out. Well, if you just smack them, it doesn't do them any good. You know, you got to kind of explain to people. And if you explain to people, then it comes together.
It does. Either they understand or they help you find a solution. So I would love to know, why do you think that email is not being sent out to those 800,000 fishing licenses, in your opinion? And have you solved that on your side of the country?
When the email goes out directly, it's official. And making stuff official, it's like going on the record.
The CYA, same issue.
Yeah, it's as long as I don't send it out, I don't get. That's why I volunteer. Tell me. I'll tell everybody else. They can come back and yell at me. You think I care people yelling at me? Take a number. My yell button, there's a number thing. You got to put, shoot, I'm 369. Serving number 2. Go ahead. You're mad at me? Get a number.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about that. When you get it in a level of responsibility, you can't expect everybody to be happy. But you do owe everybody some explanation. You know, and I get it. Sometimes you can't tell the whole story. I get it. For whatever reason, you're trying to do a study and it needs to be like a placebo effect kind of a thing. I get it. But you can still communication. Just communicate with people, you know? And I think I would love the opportunity to be the person. I've done it more than once where they're like, we're having a problem. And I'm like, you know, I can fix that. And they're like, what? I'm like, this is how I would do it. Oh, well, I'd have to run that up the ladder. I go, I don't need any funding from you. I don't need anything from you. I'll do it, you know. I still have to run it up to the ladder and next thing you know, it gets lost in the shuffle. You know, there's a point that I'm not at the point in my business where I can just self-fund some of this stuff and just say, oh, you want this information? I have this information. Now, if you want it, you're going to have to work with me. But I'm not at that point yet because half the stuff that they need, you can make it where it's enjoyable and it's fun. And people would love to be a part of. They don't even have to know they're being part of a study. I mean, you could put it in the fine print. There's a disclaimer, but you can find out. I can get people to do anything I want in a tournament. Like I've done a couple of shark tournaments, which have been really, really good with the greenies, man. Boy, they fucking love me. But before I even host them, the first thing I do is I call up the scientists and I'm like, listen, I'm getting ready to do this. What kind of information would you like? And they're like, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, this is what I'm going to do. If you're looking for something particular, you're looking for sizes, you're looking for bait eating, you're looking for something, let me know and I'll make it part of the rule where, okay, you have to report back for the fish to count. You got to report back the length. Or I'm going to add up, the winners are going to be photos of all the fish. So whoever has the most lengths, the most inches across as many fish. Next thing you know, everybody's reporting inches to you. And I'm like, okay, so I got one fish at 64, one fish at 67, one fish at 53. Okay. Or I've got 300 sharks. Here's all their lengths. It's not hard. We can do it. But government isn't designed to be efficient where private industry is. And me, again, just being kind of ADHD, I want to make it fun.
Yeah.
I want to make it fun. I want people to go out there and go fishing and then razz each other and tease each other and have some fun. And really, it's a life experience. Whatever we work for, we can't take it with us.
Right.
So what can you do while you're here to leave something for everybody else?
Amen to that. We just have a little 3-month-old son. So this has become extremely passionate to me, like looking at him and thinking, is he going to have the same opportunity to fish in the waters that I've gotten so lucky to experience? And so we're very passionate about keeping it going. And you brought up the thread of communication. It's both the problem and the solution. Like you doing these tournaments and making this social media monster out of it, it brings awareness to the sport, which helps us conserve it. It feeds itself.
It does.
So
it does.
Oh, I'm so inspired by even just this conversation. And speaking of which, I want to pivot to your tournament that you had 5 days ago, where you had something absolutely epic happen, which is one of the things that's so great about fishing, like the epicness that you just cannot predict. Things like that happen all the time, every year on the water. And we have these stories that we share and we share and we share, and it ripple effects to more people. So can you tell us the story about your most recent tournament on July 4th? What happened? And just give us the whole thing.
Boy, oh boy, man, did we stir a pot. And first of all, I want to give a huge shout out just to the fishing community as a whole, because I had somebody text me yesterday. They're like, hey man, how much backlash have you gotten over the last few days? And I go, 0.
Oh.
I've gotten 0 backlash over it. So for those people that are just listening, I host the only global Blue Marlin tournament in the world.
Before you go further on that, can you tell us what inspired you to do a global tournament? Because I think that's such a cool thing.
Here's the thing. I didn't start it. The person that started it, the idea came off at Woods Wall. And for people that aren't familiar, Woods Wall is off of Key West, Florida. There was a gentleman by the name of Jim Hardy, who was the founder of the tournament. He was the beat writer for the Miami Herald. He was fishing with Tex Schramm, was the owner of the Dallas Cowboys. So they were sitting there off Woods Wall fishing a Blue Marlin tournament. And they're like, how cool would it be to have like a worldwide championship for Blue Marlin fishing? Yeah, we should do like one day. Everybody competes and whoever catches the biggest fish. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. So next thing you know, 1985, back in the 1900s when fire was invented and dinosaurs roamed, they had the first ever Blue Marlin World Cup. Jim Hardy started this, and his family still owns it. So every year I get to spend 4th of July with them, and it's like a huge family reunion. It's really great. Well, back then there wasn't even faxes. There was, checks getting mailed in, and even the first time I fished it, oh my gosh, I want to say it was like 1999, 98. You would have to go to the local plumber in Bermuda, give him your money, he'd give you your number, and he'd put it in an old-fashioned bank sack, whether it was a check or cash, and then he would wire it back to Jim after the 4th of July, and that's how he would have his list of boats. So when somebody caught a fish, sometimes it would take a week to find out who the winner was. There was no pictures and all this craziness. So then Jim, he passed, and they reached out to the president of the IGFA, which was Mike Leach. And Mike Leach took over as tournament director. And Mike Leach's son worked with me on the Reel Tight. So I'd always see him, and hey, Mike, I want to buy the tournament from you. I want to buy the tournament for you. He says, Fly, it's not for sale. I don't own it. It's not for sale. It's not for sale. Then one day he called. I saw him somewhere. He goes, hey, you still interested in the tournament? I'm like, oh, do they want to sell it? And he goes, no, but I want to retire. And I'm like, you mean I get to be the tournament director? I'm like, yeah, I'd love it. So I went, I met the family. That was 12 years ago. I've been running it for 12 years. Cool. This was the cool part. So when I saw Mike running it, they had like 4 telephones. They had wires running everywhere. I show up with a computer and 2 cell phones. And they had the phones plugged in my first year. And that was the first year that Facebook would let you go live. So I was doing, nice. I had convinced the family to allow me to go live on Facebook. So I went live on Facebook and I started doing 3-hour updates. And I got a phone call first thing in the morning. It was like 10 after 6. I was live. Hey, just so you know, the Blue Marlin is hooked up. Okay, so I wrote it down, and off I go. Well, next thing you know, Blue Marlin boats their fish. I go through the computer and I look and I'm like, oh, my buddy Sean is on there. Because again, I've been in this industry for 34 years. I think I know everybody on every boat. So I get the phone call on my cell phone. They boated the fish. I go, well, what's the length? They're like, we don't know. I'm like, what do you mean you don't know? It's like, well, the fish isn't in the boat. All we got is the head and the pecs. We can't get the rest of it in. I'm like, oh my God. I'll never forget. They sent me a picture. Well, they were chugging back in. This is Madeira. And as everybody's sitting there talking, Mike says, boy, it sure would be nice to know what lure they caught it on in case it's a Black Bart, who's one of our sponsors. So I shot Antigua Sean a text message. I go, what'd you catch it on? And he sent me a picture of the lure. It was a Polakai diver. I go, yeah, that's what they caught it on. They're like, how'd you do that? And I'm like, well, it's the technology we have. So in the last 12 years, the amount of technology that's come about has been unbelievable. So I've created 6 group chats for all the fishermen in your relative time zone. And all the fishermen on there. I'm very, very liberal with it in the sense of, guys, feel free to share this with your family and your friends, because there was a lot of years that I have wives texting me, hey, has my husband caught anything? Has my son caught anything? So I'm like, share the link with your family. I don't care, but this is a working VHF channel. Don't, hey, what are you wearing? Or, hey, what do you want for dinner tonight? No, it's a working channel. Listen, watch, pay attention, share what the fishermen can do what they want. People outside, just watch. And over the last couple of years, it's been really, really nice because, number one, all the holidays, we still, hey, Merry Christmas, Happy Easter, Happy Father's Day. We still stay connected. We share all kinds of information. For my podcast, guys are like, oh my God, your podcast was great with so-and-so. Hey, why don't you jump on with me? So you're a fisherman. I want you on. And so that's how I got the tournament. So once I plugged it into the social media machine that I had already built, it kind of exploded on me. And it's gone everywhere. and I love sharing it with everybody. It's cool. It's nothing. There's nothing out there like it, and but it shows how close knit we all are as fishermen because we all know each other, and yeah, this past year was a little crazy. I had 3 boats out of Australia, so on the third. I was eating dinner and I had to announce lines in to everybody in Australia. They were already started fishing while we were still
Yeah.
eating dinner from the third. So now I'm trying to get some rest. And I told all the guys, hey man, any hookups, anything, put it on the group chat so we have, in case I don't hear your call come in, it's written documented.
Yeah.
When you're hooked up, when you've boated, everything is already time and date stamped. And all the fishermen in Australia are all on the same thing. And I said, when I get up in the middle of the night, or if I hear it, I'll get up and I'll confirm everything. And I got up, what time did I get up? 3:30, 4 o'clock. I already had a couple of people yell, get out of bed, and they know I'm asleep. Some of the people that are fishing in Madeira, because they start fishing around 3:30. And again, we're all friends. We all know each other. So it really is like a group family text that's going on. And then I was just getting ready to go live on my first 6 a.m. live when I got a phone call. Hey, Bad Company's hooked up. And for those of you that enjoy fishing and watch a lot of social media, the owner of the Bad Company has built an unbelievable story around his world tour. He has boats all over the world and he flies everywhere and goes fishing and shares the story of catching big blue marlins. So I'm sure there's going to be an unbelievable episode coming out about what happened.
Cool.
So I go live. I announce it to everybody, this, that, and the other. And then 2 hours later, I get the phone call. Hey, we boated the fish. What's the length? 119 by 65. Okay, you're going to go in and weigh it. No, we're going to continue fishing. Okay, we're going to continue fishing. Well, just as I announced that they boated the fish, Bermuda just started fishing. So Bermuda is 2 or 3 hours past Cape Verde. And it was real early in the day when the tournament director, and I got to give her a big shout out, Michelle Gaylord. Michelle and I, we've worked together now for about 13 or 14 years on all my tournaments. She oversees all the video confirmation, all the content capture. She's unbelievable at what she does. And she did the same thing for the Bermuda tournaments. Well, this year they just elevated her to tournament director and for all the Bermuda tournaments. So she shoots me a text message. Hey, the Breeze got a fish on board. They're on their way in. I'm like, okay. Do they got any measurements? 119 by 60. I go, 2 fish at 119? What are the chances?
Yeah.
So they go in, they weigh this fish, and it's 617, and they go back out fishing. That company's still fishing. So next thing you know, I text her. I go, hey, I got the Swish on for about an hour. Do you got them? No, I don't have them yet. I'm like, okay. And then she goes, okay, they just reported. Okay. I says, I got them boated and I got a picture of the fish. It's 119 by 63. She goes, can you hold up telling anybody until I get it official? I go, yeah, I can. Just let me know when you got in. Within 5 minutes, she got notified. And, again, we work together. I want her to succeed. It's exciting for me to see this is her first year. And so they come in and they weigh their fish and it's 653. I'm like, wow, that's a nice one. And so all day long, everybody's waiting for Bad Company. Well, now it's lines out. So in Cape Verde, which was like 2:30 my time, 1:30, 2:30 my time. I got to look back at my notes. And I text one of the guys that I know on there, or at least the person that's been in charge of communication. And I'm like, hey, are you guys on your way in? Yeah, we're about 45 minutes away from the dock. So everybody's asking on all these group chats. And I'm like, hey, they're 45 minutes away from the dock. So after about an hour and 30 minutes, everybody's like, what the F is taking so long? How come we don't know the weight? And I'm like, oh my gosh. Well, by this time, I had already gotten my phone call. Call me. I'm like, oh my God, call me, call me. And anybody who's been in any position of authority or responsibility or anything knows that when you got to call me, call me's are never great. So, hey, what's going on? Hey, what was the weight on that fish in Bermuda? I go, my job is not to tell you the weight of the fish in Bermuda. My job is to receive a weight from you.
Yeah.
He goes, well, the weight we got, and that's why I want to check with you, is 653. And I'm like, no. I'm like 653 on the nose. And he goes, yeah. I says, you got pictures and videos of this? And he goes, yes. I says, okay, every picture, every video, everything, send it to me. So they send me all that stuff. And I said, stay right around your phone. So they called me. They sent me all the stuff. I walk back out of my room and I go back to Mike Leach, who's the president, who used to be the president of IGFA. Mike's now 91 years old. I go, Mike, I just got the call from Bad Company's Fish. And he pulls out, because he does it. I still have a notebook, but I put everything on my phone. He still has a little notepad, old-fashioned notepad. He goes, okay, give it to me. I go, Bad Company, 653. And he goes, what? And I'm like, 653. He goes, that's the same as the Squish. I know. And I'm like, okay. I go, we have a rule. I'm going to go look at it, but I want to talk to Roger as well, because Roger's an attorney and I want to make sure the writing and everything is all done. So now I go call the tournament director in Bermuda, because if anybody needs to know, the tournament director, she's also the weighmaster and all that other stuff. So I call her up. I said, okay, I just got off the phone with Bad Company. What is it? What is it? Did we get them? Did we get them? I go, their number is 653. She goes, oh my God. I go, yeah. And again, like anybody else, did they tear everything out? Did they do this? Did they do that? Did they do this? I go, listen, this is what they've done. This is the machine that they're using. She goes, oh my God, that's the same machine I have. So they had the same exact scales. They had the same exact everything. And then we went over the manual of the scales, because they're like, hey, do you want us to take this to the 10th of the pound? I go, well, you could try it. Well, if you look in the manual, 10th of a pound only works up to 200 pounds. After 200 pounds, it only goes up by pounds. And she goes, what do I tell everybody? I says, don't tell anybody anything yet. I go, give me 10 or 15 minutes. Let me figure this out. Let me look at the rules. Let me try to make some decisions. Let me make some unofficial decisions, because again, we still have 9 hours of fishing left. I can't make any official decisions. I don't want to make any official decisions. So, I conversed with Roger, I conversed with Mike, and we sat and we talked. And the good thing is the rule is very, very specific. The rule states the first boat to notify the committee that their fish has been boated is the tiebreaker. Now, some people may argue back and forth that it should be in your time zone, it should not be in your time zone. And listen, I'm not disagreeing with anybody. But when I look at my sheet as a 24-hour day, I have to go with how it gets reported to me in the day. And which is completely unrelated to your time zone. It is my timesheet. And that's the way the rule book is written, is the timesheet. And social media was blowing up that day. And that's probably why my numbers were so good, because everybody was giving me their 2.5 cents of how the rule should be read. And once I talked with everybody, I called Michelle. I go, this is what we're going to do, Michelle. I still have 9 hours of fishing left. I have 3 hours or 2.5 hours of fishing in the Gulf of Mexico. I have boats in Tahiti and French Polynesia, and I have boats in Hawaii. So I'm not making anything official announcement until lines are out. So when people ask, just tell them to read rule number 9. That's it. Which rule number 9 says whoever reports it back to me first is the tiebreaker. And again, I know all these guys, so I'm getting a lot of personal text messages. Hey, I know you've been asked this 100 times, but who's in the lead right now? And I just don't answer the text messages back. Rule number 9, read rule number 9. And on my live update, and here's the crazy part. I think it was live update 3 o'clock. I was flustered because I knew the weight. But we were still trying to calculate. I was still looking at all the videos, make sure it was really 653. I wanted to make sure all the documentation was already done. So I'm like, we're just waiting on the weight. And shortly after 3, we knew. Now that I wasn't rushed to do my 3 o'clock, now I could take time and look at all the videos. We can all look at all the videos, make sure everything was settled down at 6:53. And by the 6 o'clock, before 6 o'clock update, I took a picture. By 4 o'clock, I had a picture up, 2 fish, and all I said was, bad company 6:53, swish fish 6:53. Read rule number 9. That's it. That's all I did. Go back to the website. Here's the link to the website. Read rule number 9. And man, I'm like, all we need is one person with a 700-pounder.
Yeah.
And it's a non-issue.
Exactly.
It's a non-issue. So I don't want to have to make a definitive call on something until it's an issue. And truth be told, it's not an issue because the tournament's not over yet. And the crazy part is between July 5th and 6th, Hawaii caught 3 700-pounders. 3 of them. So it was anybody's game. I got a few hours of sleep that night. I think I got like 3.5, 4 hours of sleep. I got up in the morning. We have a very traditional, we go out to breakfast together as a family after the World Cup. And right before we went out to breakfast, I got a call from the editor of Marlin magazine. You're really the first interview or conversation I'm having about it. He did a quick phone conversation. Again, editor of Marlin magazine. He's in Bermuda. So he wrote I think I shared it with you. Did I share the story with you from Marlin?
You didn't. You just mentioned it.
Okay. I'll send it to you so you can read it because it was really good. It was not a press release style story. He wrote a story about how he was on the island for the tournaments, everything that's going on, and what he went through and what everybody in Hawaii was going through, which I thought was, again, it was maybe 1,000 words, but it was really well written by Jack of how this whole thing and even how Michelle handled it. Read rule number 9. Just read rule number 9 because it's not in her hands. I didn't want her to feel like it was in her hands. And it was 100% in my hands. But I couldn't make a decision because it wasn't over yet. It wasn't over yet. There was no definitive anything because it's not over. So like I said, 1 700-pounder and it'd be a non-issue. Mm-hmm. So a little crazy. It was wild. It's never happened in the history of the World Cup in 41 years. First time. I'm glad I could be a part of it, even though at the time I really wish I didn't. Oh my God, it was horrible. But when I told Michelle, she'd like text me 30 minutes later. She goes, I feel like throwing up. I'm like, man, I'm so sorry. It's not over yet. It's not over yet. And then later on that night, maybe it was like 8 o'clock my time. She's like, how are you feeling? And I just returned the thing. I feel like throwing up. Well, it's you have news, you got to do something. And I get it. I understand. And luckily for me, the decision was very simple in the sense of the rule was written in there. So it was tough. It
Yeah.
was tough, you know? And I do have to give a huge round of applause to the captain and crew aboard the Swish. The captain called me up, and where I wouldn't have taken anybody else's calls, I took his, and I go, listen, right now there's nothing, but rule number 9, I'm going to read it to you because you probably don't have it in front of you. And I read it to him. He goes, huh. And then he told me a story about how many times he's lost tiebreakers over the years. And I'm like, bro, so it's not me, it's you. But he took it really well. And the next morning when I woke up, he texted me. He's like, hey, man, can I have Captain Steve's phone number? I'd like to congratulate him. And listen, I get goosebumps just saying that because it's sportsmanship. When it really boils down to it, I mean, you know, these tournaments, there's money involved, but really it's a sport and it's sportsmanship. We're all in this thing together. It doesn't matter whether you're fishing for blue marlin or salmon or halibut or tarpon. It's our love for this sport that brings us all together. And we have to remember that. We have to remember that. It's okay, we have competitions, but you know what? The next day, and this is, I'm going to mess up the quote. I might mess up the quote a little bit, but it's from Phil Jackson's. You are only as good as you are at the moment you accomplish that goal. After that, we're back at zero and we got to start all over again. So, you know what? July 5th, we're all fishing again.
Yeah.
You know, even when I called up Anthony, I didn't call him. I texted him first, are you awake? They were all sleeping. They won the tournament. I had nobody to call because they were fishing the very next morning. They were fishing the very next morning. So I sent a group chat. I put all the crew members on it. I'm like, guys, you are the winner. Anthony, I'll call you tomorrow morning when I wake up. I like to, it's my personal thing. One of the things I like to do, I like to personally FaceTime the team. And before I go live, before I announce it to the world, I don't want you to hear it as an announcement. I want you to hear it from me. You know, to me, that's a very important thing. And over the years, I've had some incredible conversations with the winners, ranging from total ecstatics to people telling me funny jokes. It's a moment. It's a moment in time. It's a moment in my life that I'll take with me through the years of all the people I've talked to, where I've called them up and had phones thrown in the air. I haven't had one lost in the water yet. But it's just really, really cool. And I want to share it. I don't want to just share it on, hey, you're the winner. I want to see your face.
Yeah.
You know, you're really the world champion for that day. You know, and I want to share it. So I absolutely love it. I love doing it. And it's my favorite time of year. For me, it's Christmas in July.
I love that. That is absolutely an epic, epic story. And thank goodness that rule number 9 existed, even though the odds of something like that happening is crazy.
Oh my gosh. It's completely crazy. But listen, that's why you put the rules in there, just to CYA, cover your ass.
Yeah. So I would love to know, what was the biggest, I guess, lesson or takeaway from that experience for you? And then also, I don't know if you can speak for the captains, but what do you think was their biggest takeaway from that experience as well, if you can speculate?
I don't want to speculate on the captains. Here's the thing. I don't want to speculate publicly. I have my own speculations. I'd like to keep those private because it's just my thought, because I try to put myself in those situations.
Yeah.
There's an old Chinese proverb that says, a smart man learns from his mistakes, but a wise man learns from other people's mistakes. And so I like to put myself in other people's situations to see how I would have done it. But that I'm going to keep to myself. What did I learn from it? I learned a lot. we tell this to young children a lot, especially young boys that are full of testosterone. When you're in a very precarious decision, especially again with young boys, you get upset. What's the first thing you want to do? You want to punch somebody or step on the gas or do something stupid. Take a step back. You have time. Just because you have all the information right now doesn't mean you have to make the decision right now. Or even if you have made the decision, you don't have to announce it right now. Just because the world is pressuring you to make that announcement, you don't have to. There's a time to do it, but it doesn't have to be right now. Really give it a lot of thought, because once your words, once you spill your words, you can't take them back in. You know, you're married. We all get upset on sometimes. If you say something, you can't bring it back. Don't say something when you're at the most heated moment. That's the best time I just need to walk away right now. Give me 30 minutes. I'll be right back. Walk away. Think about it. Calm down. Take the emotion out of everything and then have the conversation. I think that was a huge lesson for me. Even later on, I started thinking maybe I should have said something earlier. But even when I was, because Naomi was there with me, I was like, maybe I should have said something earlier. I'm kind of feeling, but once I said something once lines were out at 10:30, I knew I waited to the right time. I knew 100%. At that point, I realized I waited till the right time, because there's not that the numbers were different, but once you say it, you can't bring it back. Again, it's like what we were talking with all these political governmental agencies. They don't want to put it out because they want to cover their ass. And it's not that I want to cover my ass. It's just sometimes you don't have to make the decision. So why make the decision? Somebody catches a 700 pounder, it's a non-issue for them.
Yeah.
You know, it's gone. So wait, you know, if you're mad or if you're emotional, wait till the emotions get out of it. You know, and think about it. I mean, I wasn't emotional in the sense of I was mad or upset or frustrated, but I was mad in feeling ill, like, oh my gosh, there's so much stuff. Step away from the moment. Let 20 minutes pass. Let an hour pass. You know, when you have to make a decision, even though it wasn't making a decision as much as it was making an announcement, take a step back. Things don't have to happen in the world of social media that we all want instant gratification. Sometimes you don't need to have instant gratification. Sometimes you just need to wait. And like I said, by about 8:30, 9 o'clock, I was like, man, maybe I should have said something. And Naomi's like, no, your gut told you to hold on, and you held on, and I did. And I announced it. I made it official. Look, in retrospect, I'm happy the way I did it. 100%. I'm happy the way I did it. The only thing I can do is I can pray to, first of all, thank God that he gave me the knowledge and the courage and the way to deal with it, but also to ask God, if I'm put in that situation again, that I can handle it as professionally and as logically as I did.
I love that. And you mentioned your gut told you. Naomi said that to you. Your gut told you. Yeah. And I think so often when you mentioned being young and wanting to step on the gas or handle something when the pressure's on, it's really hard to listen to that gut in those moments when the stakes are high. Did you develop that skill in yourself to really trust yourself over time? Or is that something that comes inherently naturally to you?
Man, that's a great question. I think a little bit of both. Here's something I like to tell everybody when I fish with them. Right after I stopped running boats and I was just starting my business, what I did a lot of was coaching, where I took people out. They wanted to learn how to pitch blue marlin and pitch billfish, and I would coach them. And I'm like, hey, the fish is right behind your bait. It's coming up behind you about 6 inches, three. Okay, he's right on. And they're like, how did you see it? I can't see it. And I'm like, you know what? After a while, things start to slow down. When you see enough of it, it starts to slow down. And I think maybe when I was younger, I had a gut feeling because looking back, I had a lot of other gut feelings that told me to do certain things, and I did them, and I was very happy, and it worked out for me, and I'm cool with it. But as I've gotten older, things have slowed down. I have had enough situations that, oh, I recognize the situation. Like you just asked me, what did you learn? The fact that you're asking that question is something that you should ask that question every time you have a situation. What did I learn from that? What did I learn from that so that next time I don't make that mistake? Or I was able to walk this out properly. How was I able to walk it out properly? You know, so the fact that you asked that question, I'm still reeling. We just got the press release out yesterday, so I never got the chance to sit here and really freak out about it, about the whole situation. So the fact that you asked the question, I'm like, oh, and now I'll probably spend the rest of the afternoon. What else did I learn? Did I learn something else? Because sometimes it's not the big lesson. Sometimes there's a small lesson up in there that you may not notice it at first. But there's something that happened, and, you know, look back, again, I didn't make the decision on my own. I talked to a lot of people. I talked to Mike, I talked to Roger, I even talked to Michelle, even though she had a viable part in it. So she was a bit biased, but she's always been my sounding board at my other tournaments. So why can't I use her still? You know, I had 2 or 3 phone calls with her, and she has the knowledge, so I can count on her and I can trust her, even though, you know, she was what would be a conflict of interest. We didn't talk about her interest in it. We just talked about the situation. We talked about the scales. We talked about, you know, and when you make a decision, it doesn't always have to be one on your own. And if you take the time, if you slow down, you get more time to bring in information from other knowledgeable people, you know, that can help guide you. And when people see the things that I do, I tell them a lot of times, listen, I'm just a spokesperson. I'm the guy that's happy to come out on the camera and talk about it, but doesn't mean I'm always making the decision on my own. I have a lot of great people in my circle. You know, my circle's small, but it gets bigger and bigger depending on what situations we're in. And count on your people. And, you know, when you're a kid, you have a newborn, 3 months, you said, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I remember as a kid, my mom told me, I don't like you hanging around him. He's not a good person. And you'd hate it. But now as I'm older, not only do I appreciate that, I see how I've taken it to another level where I am very, very tentative on who I put around in my circles. And especially when things become either of a bigger scale or more important, it's an even smaller or more well-filtered circle. You know, personal issues. I may only have 3 people I talk to, you know, but that's because that's personal. It's not for the world to know. If it's a fishing tournament, okay, I might have 5 or 6 people that I count on, you know. Even when it comes to things to do in the tournament, I had somebody, you know, you really should put a survey out. I'm like, no, I'm not going to put a survey out. I'm not going to put it out to 150 people. No, they don't, not everybody gets the same vote. They haven't earned my level of trust. And just like I'm not expecting to be in somebody else's circle if I haven't earned their trust, you know? So, no, take a moment, take a step back, and for young boys, that's hard because when that testosterone kicks in, we're idiots. We are, there's a reason why women live longer than men. We are idiots. The worst thing you can hear from any man, here, hold my beer. By far, here, hold my beer. First of all, you're drinking. You shouldn't be making decisions. Number two, if you can't do it while you're holding your beer, it's probably going to get you into trouble. I have never, ever heard anybody dying after saying the words, here, hold my water, or here, hold my salad. Never. Never, 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 never. You know? So, yeah, take a moment. Take a step back. Don't make that rush decision. Just, you know, there's so many things, especially young boys, man. There's, you know, you're 16 years old, 17 years old. You're in a position that you can make a decision that could change your life forever. Mm-hmm. And if you do it on a split decision, chances are it's going to change your life for the worse. Now, if you give it a lot of thought and you bring some people in and you make a decision and it's like, Mom, Dad, I'm really thinking of not playing football anymore, but baseball because I think I have a more potential, then okay, make that decision. But you brought people in to help you make that decision with you. But if you make them split decisions, oh, this guy's an idiot, I'm going to hit him upside the head with this baseball. And then something happens and no, it just take a moment, take a step back, you know?
You hit on so many really important like life lessons. And I think that's one of the reasons I'm passionate about fishing is these conversations happen around the sport of fishing that really impact your future and your life and what you can do to become a better human day after day. And as a parent, now I'm looking at this little tiny innocent being thinking, how do I not mess him up? You know? And you saying like give it a minute to make a decision, have the right circle around you so that you can ask for feedback about that decision. What makes you confident in your circle? What advice would you give a young boy who is maybe primarily your audience? If you're talking to your audience right now and telling them how to audit their circle, what kind of things are you advising them to think about?
So my personality is, I have a very unique personality. I'm a very positive, upbeat, energetic person. My first line of defense is if you are adding to my energy, you're allowed to be in my circle. If you're taking away, if you're a drain on my energy, you're not going to be in my circle. That's my first line of defense. I have cut a lot of people out because they're a drain. Just a personality trait. Everything is always a problem with you. That's my first line of defense. I follow my gut a lot, but and this is your podcast, so I want to give you respect to a certain extent, but you're asking me a question and I'm going to answer it 100% truthfully and honest. I talk to God. Mm-hmm. Me. That's just me. I'm not telling people what they need to do, how they need to do it. I spend a lot of time talking to God. And
have you always been religious? Or did you call
I've always believed in God, but about 12 years ago, I got an opportunity to fish a tournament with a friend of mine who is very biblical. Mm-hmm. He reads the Bible a lot. He was the first person to introduce me to the Bible. And do you mind if I talk about this?
I love this. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Again, this is your podcast and I want to respect your podcast.
No, real conversations are what we're about. This is as real as it gets.
So as long as you're comfortable and I'm respectful to you, I'll open myself about this because this is important to me. These are the things that are important to me. The three of us that were fishing, we were all going through a very certain phase in our life. But the three of us got put on that boat for a reason. And we ended up winning a tournament. And my friend Flash who's this biblical guy. And he's okay with me saying how he got introduced to the Bible was through AA. That's how he got introduced to the Bible. And that day, we're competing with some of the greatest fishermen in Stewart, and he was speaking with God, and that's cool. That's your thing. Well, we caught whatever. It was like our seventh sailfish, our eighth sailfish. And after every one, he would always say thank you. And then he would ask for his guidance on where to go for the next one. And after coming back up in the tower, I said, amen. And he just stopped and he looked at me and he goes, what? And I'm like, amen. You've been praying. God answered us. I'm saying amen. And the very next year, if you look at it the way I look at it, God put me in Canada at the same time as Flash, and we shared the same cottage for 11 years. So this guy that taught me about the Bible while we were in the tower of the boat, suddenly I got a chance to spend 11 years with this guy. That's not, for me, that's not coincidence. So here's a guy that opened this up for me. Again, I always believed in God, but the fact that he shared some biblical knowledge, now he put me in a house with him that in Canada, and our fishing schedule's so hectic and long, there's no AA meetings to go to. So every night, our dinners was our fellowship where we can share this. And it allowed me to learn some more about the Bible. That's where I learned about reaching back behind you and bringing somebody up. And then I went and I researched it some more because, again, that's me. I always have to take something to the next level. So I want to know exactly which verse. And it's like, well, it comes from these 4 verses. And again, it's not like I go and I read the Bible every day. I pick up, I spend a lot of time in the Middle East. So my friends in the Middle East, they're very religious. And so I have deep conversations with them, and you realize the stories, not the Bible, not the Quran, but the stories are so similar because we all come from the same Abraham branch. So the stories of going to Egypt and going to Israel and going to Mecca, the stories are all very similar. So you get to understand more stories. So I'm more in detail with the overall stories and how it affects our lives and how we believe and how we choose to love other people and take care of other people. And I'm a firm believer, and I have this conversation constantly, where 90%, we get along, we agree on 90% of all the things, whether it be the Bible or the Quran or fishery management or fishing. But for some reason, because of social media, it's so easy to just pick on the 10% that we're not the same. And what I tell everybody, I'm like, listen, I don't care that we're not the same on the 10%. Let's find out how we're the same. Let me get to know you. And once I know you and I trust you, then let's talk about that 10%, because I can do that in a level of respect. I can have the tough conversation easier with somebody I respect.
Yeah.
I can't do that if I don't respect you. And so that's me. And then I had some things that happened with fishing and my business, and I had to take not just a 30,000 foot view. It was a 12 to 13 year view. And I realized, oh my God, God was right there holding my hand. I didn't realize it. I was hurt. I was bothered. I was devastated. But that was God protecting me, and I didn't know he was protecting me at the time. He protected me. I see it. Believe it 100%. Because I said the words, And then 12 years later, the words happened. And I'm like, oh my God, yeah, he protected me. Listen, I don't normally tell when my job in Hawaii went away and I was devastated. And I thought to myself, okay, what do I want to do? Do I want to give another 10 to 15 years to another owner and then he could just fire me? And then I go, then what? I'm going to be 55 years old and then I got to start all over again. And that owner of that boat passed away in November at 38 years old.
Oh my God.
And then I know, come January 1st, everybody that worked for him all posted on Facebook, same day, not on purpose, end of an era. And if God didn't take me off that boat, I would have been one of those guys posting end of an era. Now I'm 53 and I get to start all over again. And now I look back and I'm like, he protected me. He pushed me away because he knew that's not for me. For me was what I'm on now. And the amount of opportunities, again, only because we're talking about this, and I'm okay talking about it. It's just I always try to, this is me. It's my beliefs. I don't try to push them on anybody else. I just recently, my local high school, they needed somebody to step in there for the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. And so I got asked to join the board of Palm Beach County, a Fellowship of Christian Athletes, to be at my alma mater. And again, I feel that that's where God wanted me to go. He wanted me to go speak to these kids. The same way we're having this conversation about how we take care of ourselves and how do we make right decisions, especially with the young men. I'm a very big proponent on young men. I don't like what's happened to young men over the last 15 years. I really do not. They've been
What do you
demonized.
see as what's happened to young men over the last 15 years?
The fact that masculinity has been demonized.
Yeah.
So listen, my girlfriend is a very successful horse doctor. She's wonderful. But when we first started dating, she's always just done her thing. And I'm like, listen, I just want to take care of you. That's what I do. I'm a man. My job is to protect and provide. That's not saying you can't take care of yourself. You can't pay your bill. You can do all that. But let me just protect you. Let me provide for you. Let me make you dinner. Let me make sure you're safe. That's all I ask for. And there's nothing wrong with that. And that's where I think a lot of these young boys were confused, because internally, that's how we were built, to protect and provide. And when you're telling people that toxic masculinity or masculinity is toxic, that's confusing. That's confusing. Listen, beating on women is bad. Not giving a woman an opportunity to do something is bad. But wanting to protect your mom, your sister, your wife, your girlfriend, there's nothing wrong with that. To try to provide for the person you love, there's nothing wrong with that. It's like anything else. Can it go too far? Absolutely. But these young men need to know, hey, you have to provide. You can't sit in the basement playing video games all day long. You have to provide. You have to provide for this world. God put us on this world to do something. Same thing with women. He put them on this world as well. But he put us on this world for a reason. And listen, what women do, we can't. You guys create life, man. That is the most awesome thing in the world. You guys have the ability to create life. And our job is to make sure you're safe. That's our job. Now, I'm not saying that it can't be everybody. I'm just saying, as a man, deep down inside, you want to know that your wife, your partner, your whoever it is that's next to you is safe. You don't want to feel that you can't protect them. And these young men in a non-testosterone rage should learn, hey, no, open the door for your girl. No, hey, you invited her out. You paid for the first dinner, you know? you treat her like what she is, which is a woman. And again, some women, listen, I can open up my own door. Okay, that's fine. I don't hold that against you. But just so you know, I do it not because I don't think you can. I do it because I want to. I want to. And I think that's important. And that's something that I tell all young men. And it all stems from doing things that you like to do. If you do it right and you do the things that you like to do, you have the ability to open up all these things, and then you can provide. You know, you can give your wife or your kids or your nieces and nephews what you couldn't. You know, what you couldn't do. So, yeah, that's where I think young boys have really, especially, like I said, over the last 15 years. And that part I'm very outspoken about. Now, the biblical side of it, again, if I'm given permission, I'll talk about it because, again, I'm not trying to be a pastor and I'm not trying to be beat somebody over the head, because I have many friends that have different religions, and I respect them all. I really do. If that's the way you believe, it's not my job to change your mind. But one thing I do like is, if you believe in God, you live by a certain moral code. And I like that moral code. I really do. It's, for lack of a better term, this is going to sound so horrible. It's like an honor amongst thieves. There's still an honor. There's an honor. There's a moral code. Listen, you take care of your family. You don't hurt somebody. You do the right things. And even if the beliefs are a little different at the very last 10%, I'm not going to argue with you over that last 10%. You're providing for your family. You love your kids. You hug them. You tell them you love them. You tell them you miss them. No, just because me and you don't believe on the last 10%, I'm not going to be mad at you. It's stupid. For me, it's stupid. For me, it's just the opposite. Man, 90%, we're 90% the same. If we're 90% the same, I got to love you. I got to love you. Me and my brother don't see eye to eye on everything, but I still love him. My sister and I don't see eye to eye on everything, but I still love him. And again, it goes back to, it's easy when it's user 3874, I hate you. It's so much, you know what? If you pick up the phone and call user 3874 and you realize, you know what? That's Fred Johnson. He's a dad of 3 kids and he's upset because he just got laid off his job. You're going to be a little bit more forgiving of him.
Absolutely. And that actually brings up a really good point, because I think everything you're talking about, like the deeper stuff of being a human and being a leader, I think is more important to each and every individual listening to this than necessarily how to go catch your first billfish, which is important. But this stuff is where the magic of your life can happen. And you mentioned social media, and this is a big, big thing, right? Like, we have this reach, this massive reach. You mentioned millions of views and people watching your content, but that 10% is where user 378 is going to focus on the difference between us, not the 90% of where we can come together and make real change and real improvements in society. How do you bridge the gap between those two things as a creator and as us speaking to future creators? What can we do to steward the 90% and get rid of that 10% that really isn't making as much of a difference, but gets the likes and views?
Reach out to them privately. I mean, especially if it's just somebody shitting on you for shitting on you sake, but if it's somebody that's really trying to have a conversation with you and they're not connecting, I want to have a private conversation. I'm always a firm believer that you praise in public and you criticize in private. So if we have a discussion and it starts getting a little bit crazy, let's take it privately. Hey man, listen, you and I think we agree on a lot of this stuff. We're not agreeing on the last 10%. Let's have a conversation. I mean, really, people like to use that social media to attack. No, be human. Be human. Reach out personally. I have a guy, literally, I reached out to him personally. He was attacking me. I was agreeing with him. And finally, I sent him a private message. And I didn't hear nothing from him. And whatever, you wanted to ignore it. Then he got back to me like 3 weeks later, 4 weeks later. He goes, man, I am so sorry. This was in my hidden messages. I just read all of it. I'd absolutely like to have a discussion with you. I just don't know if I want to do it publicly on a podcast, but I would love to have a conversation with you. Okay, that's it. It put out an olive branch. Have a conversation, make a phone call. Here's the greatest thing. You don't even have to give out your phone number. You can call them on social media. Instagram lets you call them, so it saves you from putting out your public number to everybody. And have a conversation. Hey, man, what are the things that you agree on? I really love this. I really love sharks. I really love this part, and I'm concerned about these things. What are you concerned about? I'm concerned about this, this, and that. Did you know that that's not the way it happens? Would you like to come fishing with me so you can see what happens? Oh, no, I never saw. Come fishing with me. Or do you mind if I ride on your boat? Don't tell anybody who I am. Let me just be a part of it. And I promise I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to be a part of it. And again, you're not going to do it until you put your hand out.
Yeah.
You got to put your hand out. And it's tough because as a human, we don't like rejection. That's part of life, man. Get rejected. Get rejected. Don't be afraid of it. Trust me. You don't think I say 53, but I've been with Naomi now since I was 42. I got rejected plenty of times before I met her, you know? And finally, I tricked her. I threw a stick in front of her. And when she tripped, I grabbed her and I said, I saved you. No, I didn't.
Love it.
I lassoed her.
We've had such a rich conversation today. I want to, first of all, just thank you for the time, for coming on here and having this conversation. We've gone in directions I didn't expect to. And for me, that's a beautiful thing. It's why I do this, is conversations like this. We do have a tradition on this podcast where the previous guest leaves a question for the next guest, not knowing who it is. And so I'd love to ask you that question before let me get this thing to work here. There it is. Okay. And the question that has been left for you is, do you remember when, what, and where you caught your first fish by yourself with no one else around and no help? If so, please share.
I remember where I caught my first fish, very vividly. But my dad was next to me, but my dad never helped me with shit. You had to do it on your own. Like I never got, you know how nowadays you always hook a fish and then you pass the rod off to the kid? I never got that. I went fishing with my dad and it was a competition. Every day was trying to catch, I had to catch more than him. And awesome. So when I caught my first fish, I think I fished for 6 months and never caught anything. Hey, he wouldn't, no, here, reel it in. No, I didn't get none of that. So I can remember that fish very vividly even though he was there and there was a lot of people there. This is back in the day that the Spanish mackerel used to come into Lake Worth Lagoon. So these guys would line up elbow to elbow, throwing little glass minnows to catch Spanish mackerel. And I caught a little Jack Crevalle, maybe this big, but I was so excited because I did it all by myself. No help, no anything. Poor little fish. He wasn't very smart if he bit my hook. But I remember that day vividly. The bridge is still there. I drive by it all the time. It's changed. It's gotten bigger. So, I remember it very vividly. Little did I know it would take me on this unbelievable world tour. I'm so in, you go back to what you were asking me about being biblical and believing in God and all that. Every night I have it. I try to, whenever, like yesterday, there was a couple times I was sitting outside talking to him. But some days I get busy. But I make sure that every night I don't bless my food. That's my time to do gratefulness. That's what Naomi and I call it. What are the things that we're grateful in life? And I do it every night. Every night, even when I'm traveling, I do it. because that reminds me to stop and just tell God what you're grateful that he's given you. And one of the things I thank him, number one, for giving me life, because we're one of a billion that had the chance to become this life. And I was that one. And then this life. I mean, really, I'm the son of two immigrants from a communist country, and I've gone all over this world, and only because I love fishing and I love to share it.
And you took the leap to trust that passion and follow the threads of opportunity, which I don't think is something the average person can do. So, or does do, chooses to
please do it. Trust yourself. God gives us all a gift. You know who speaks it? And I'll share it with you once we get off. Steve Harvey. You know Steve Harvey from the Family Feud?
Yep.
The bald guy. He has a little dissertation. It's called Jump. God gives everybody a gift. We all have a gift. And at a certain point, you have to learn to trust that gift, and you got to jump and trust that your parachute is going to open. And you got to trust it, because God wouldn't give you that gift for nothing. So you got to trust it. But if you don't want to take the chance, you're just going to live a boring life. You're going to be, and there's nothing wrong with being a teacher with 2.35 children. You can't. But I took that leap. I did, and I've taken the leap more than once. I've taken the leap 3 or 4 times, and man, I've gotten some bumps. I've gotten some bruises. Listen, I've had my electricity shut off like 7 times. I've had my house in foreclosure like 3 times, because you're waiting for the next tournament to come up to make some money to pay the bills, because you're doing all this other stuff, and you want your business to take off, and it's scary. And I could have very easily say, you know what, I'll go back and run a boat. But I didn't, and you got to take that leap of faith, and you got to believe that he is going to hold your hand, and your chute's going to open, and you're going to have some bumps and bruises, and you're going to be beat up. But you know what? At the end of the day, there are going to be good stories about those bumps and bruises. There are going to be some really cool stories that you can share with people, and you should share with people. Because again, like what I told you, when you got to fight somebody, even if the people behind you aren't fighting with you, as long as you know you got 10 people there, well, if you have 10 people that have shared their story with you about how they've had their bumps and bruises on their fights, you know you're not alone. Mm-hmm. And just that alone makes you feel good. It gives you that little bit of confidence to take the lead. And it's hard. It really is. It's hard. I'm not going to lie to you. It's not easy. Oh, yeah, let's try this. You got to take a chance. You have to. There's nothing worse and I hope it never hits me, but I don't ever want to be on my deathbed at 84 years old saying, man, I wish I would have tried this. Regret is the worst thing in the world. I wish I would have blank. No, I tried it. I might have not achieved, and I don't say fail. I always say I didn't achieve the goal I wanted. Failure is when you fall and you say, fuck it, I'm not getting back up. No, we all fall. Get back up. Failure is when you quit. You fall, you don't get the goal you achieve. But it's like if you're running up a hill and you fall. Well, you don't fall all the way back down to the bottom of the hill. You fall and you get up where you fell and you keep going. So you're already 10 steps further than when you started. That, to me, that's huge. That's huge.
Prerequisite to success is that fall. The lesson with the fall, and then the next step you take.
With the blood and the scars and the aching knees. And then when you get to be my age, there's all these hurts when a cold front comes in. It's like, what's bothering me? Yeah, that's 1976. Oh, what a year.
Is there anything in this conversation that we have not touched on that we need to before we sign off here today?
One really quick thing, and I didn't think about it till the very end, because I think you drop yours really quickly. Come down and visit me in Westport, Washington for the Washington Tuna Classic.
Can you paint a picture of what that's like for someone who's never done it before?
Okay, Washington Tuna Classic. We get military members out fishing salmon fishing, tuna fishing. This year we moved it to a new area, but for me the greatest thing is we all come hang out on the campsite, and we're all hanging out together. We have breakfast together. Everybody goes out on the boats together. Then at the end of the day, we weigh all the fish, and then we come and the Pacific Northwest Barbecue Association cooks us dinner 2 nights in a row.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Come hang out with me.
What are the dates and how can they sign up?
Go to the website. Website is Google Washington Tuna Classic. I can't remember. I think it's under missionoutdoors.org. And dates are July 25th and 26th in Westport. Come by, stop, say hello. I don't ever not talk to people if they stop me. If you take a moment of your time out of your day, I'm going to take a moment out of my time, out of my day to talk to you. So come say hello, come hang out. It gives me an opportunity to do more things here in Washington. And besides, if more people are nicer to me, then maybe I'll just spend more time out here. And then who knows? Maybe I'll do a salmon World Cup for the state of Washington. I don't know.
Oh yeah, let's do that.
That's something I could really.
I love that idea.
I could do it. Yeah. You'd be surprised how quickly I can. I have so many crazy fishing ideas just to get people involved.
It's the best. So thank you so much for coming on today. We're going to make sure to link your podcast down below and all your social media links as well. It has been such a joy to talk to you.
No, the pleasure was all mine. Thank you for letting me talk a little bit about this. Is so weird. I have like 12 questions I wanted to ask you, but I'm like, no. I can do that when I get you on my podcast. I'm so used to being the one asking questions. It's so weird for me to actually talk about why I do the things that I do.
It's one of my favorite things is to interview other podcasters because of that very reason. You're never on the hot seat, or you're not as on the hot seat as often per se. And the people that are willing to put themselves out there like this, it's a lot of work, it's a lot of effort, it's a lot of energy, and there's something behind all that. So I'm very thankful that you shared a little slice of yourself with us today.
No, I listen. I love it. I think people need to know the why. Like you asked the question, why fishing? I even had a guy, just IGFA Hall of Fame captain. I think I've had 9 Hall of Fame captains on my podcast. And this one guy, he's 78 years old. He told me, no, I don't want to be on the podcast. He goes, go call the younger guys. He's 78. He's like, I'm 78 years old. Go talk to somebody else on how they fish. I go, hey man, I don't care how you fish. I want to know why. Mm-hmm. And he stopped for a second. He goes, call me Saturday morning. Let's do it.
I love it.
I just want to know why. That's all I give a shit about. I don't care about, I don't even talk about fishing most of the time on my podcast. I talk about the stories of the things we do. I get all these kids that call me up and they're like, man, I love it because it's not like you're talking about technical fishing. You're just talking about who we are. That's all I want to know. I want people to know who we are. We're all humans. We're all people. Let's connect. You know, if we did that, there'd be a lot less people complaining out there. I appreciate you inviting me on your podcast. I'm going to thank Mark when I go fishing with him this weekend for putting us together.
Well, it was great to meet you. Absolute joy. You've left me a lot to think about.
Yeah, I appreciate it very much. And I look forward to connect with me. And then maybe one time you and your husband can come have dinner with us here on the island.
That would be awesome. We'll take you out too. Take you fishing locally here.
Oh, count me in. Thank you. And we'll talk soon.